आज इंटरनेट सिर्फ आधे अधूरे सच और पूरे झूठ में डूबा हुआ है। किसी के पास गहराई से सोचने का या शांति से सुनने का वक्त ही नहीं है। हम एक ऐसा शांत कोना बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। Nope, not your ordinary podcast for entertainment.
Nope.
Keeping people away from veganism. What are the myths and what are the realities that are not making people choose to go vegan?
So before I enter and deep dive into this question, I think it'll be good if we first set an understanding as to what vegan even means. What does the word veganism mean? Unfortunately, the word veganism sounds so similar to vegetarianism, which happens to be a diet where one excludes consuming meat for either religious, cultural, spiritual, even you can say environmental or health reasons, whatever reasons. They don't eat meat. Veganism has nothing to do with diet. Veganism is a philosophy where one realizes that animals are not inferior to us human beings just because they are of a different species or a lower level of intelligence, and therefore we should not use or exploit them for any purpose. This therefore the philosophy extends into our lifestyle. Therefore we don't eat meat, dairy, eggs or honey. We also don't wear leather, wool, silk or fur. We don't go to the zoo or circus. I don't use cosmetics or any products that were tested on animals. For example, right now in the guest room, there was Colgate toothpaste and there was some other brand of soap. I brought my own soap and paste because those brands there test their products on animals. So we don't understand that veganism is not just about food. It extends to all aspects of our life. For example, I would never buy a pet from a breeder because they breed the animal into existence. They're exploiting the animal. So anywhere, even in the name of tradition, religion, culture, we condemn all of it. However, today we are going to be focusing on the food aspect majorly because I guess that's what...
No, this is interesting. I mean, we can go in every aspect.
Fair enough. So when you ask right now, what are the myths and realities keeping people away from veganism, let's first talk about the reality. First things first, no one likes to be told what to do, especially what to eat. If I go and say, hey, don't do this, F off is the first, and that's a normal, fair, acceptable human reaction. Who on earth am I to tell someone what they should put on their plate? So firstly, I'm encroaching upon their personal space. Right? You don't go to your, I'm in your house, I'm a guest right now. I don't come here and tell you what you should eat or what political views you should have. You'll tell me to get out. Similarly, when we talk about this, it is a sensitive issue. It's a very personal thing. Food is very, very personal to us. But unfortunately, I'm going out of my way to talk about this, not because I'm insane, but because there is a victim involved. All of our actions have far-reaching consequences, either post-action or pre-action. Here, how did the food get to your plate? What you call as food is now a deceased animal, used to be a living, breathing, joyful animal, or it came from a living, breathing, sentient creature who was tortured and exploited for it. Another reality is this: we human beings are biologically omnivorous creatures. We are not herbivores. We are apes. We are omnivores. And in our evolution in the jungles, to become who we are right now, Homo sapiens, meat played a major role in our evolution, right? So evolution benefits our survival and our chances of reproduction. That's the whole point of it. And when an animal, be it a human or any animals out there in the wild, it has to be very picky about what it eats because that might be the only morsel of food it probably gets for the next few days. So if you right now, say I gave you a bowl of salad and you ate it, how does it taste to you according to you? On a scale of 1 to 10, how will you rate the salad? Just a random salad, man, cucumbers, tomatoes, lettuce.
I think 5.
That high for salad? Okay, that's impressive. Now you don't eat meat though, right? Never eaten meat?
No, I haven't.
You have eaten meat?
Yeah.
Okay, what did you like?
Mutton golati kebab.
Okay, yeah, mutton kebab, okay. Rate that on a scale of 1 to 10.
8.
Who is this guy? You don't even give me, okay, what's a 10 out of 10 for you?
10 out of 10 is, I think fried chicken.
Oh, fair enough. Same. Oh my God, I was obsessed with fried chicken, exactly the same. So fried chicken's a 10 out of 10. Why do you think when you bite into it, we feel that way? How come you don't get the same reaction when you eat salad, but you get that when you eat meat? It's because meat contains far more calories per gram, far more protein and fat. Therefore, the human brain, which is evolved in the jungle, knows that when I consume this, I get far more energy and therefore I can live to see another day. If cavemen ate only salads, we would not be talking here today. Because they ate meat, And they survived, they got enough energy and strength, and so they moved on. Therefore, we are hardwired biologically to enjoy meat. It has helped us in our survival when we were still cavemen. And we still carry that exact same brain with us. The dopamine spike is real because it is higher in calories and certain nutrients. Not to mention feasting. We humans, during occasions right now, we sit together in a circle and we all share food. Mostly say it's meat-based, animal-based. And we get tremendous amount of joy by sitting and eating and sharing and talking with friends and family. Did you know this is also part of human evolution? When a big kill happened in the wild, that is now put on the fire, grilled, we all sit in a circle, humans in the tribe. We grab a piece, we eat, we smile, we live another day. So understand that biologically, we have evolved to do this. We are geared towards it. There is so much positive reinforcement biologically by doing this. Now we've spoken about the fact that people don't like being told what to do. Biologically, we enjoy doing this. Now let's come to this brainwashing. Humans now in this modern day and age, social creatures who have a wide array of influence. Unfortunately, a few things in our society, excuse me, prevent us from thinking further. Number one, an impediment to progress, in my humble opinion, people don't have to necessarily agree, religion. The major point being, you're not allowed to question this. God put animals here on earth for us. Case closed. Apparently, we can't question beyond that. God said so. It's in a book. Apparently, all logic is found only in this one book that I believe in that has 150 pages. If you are someone who thinks that way, I cannot rationally pull you out of that because you did not rationally convince yourself to even fall into this. You just were told to just not question. Not to mention then peer pressure gets to us, and also a lot of the fake advertisements done by media. That is the fact that if you go right now and buy a packet of ghee, you'll find a picture of a smiling cow. Which cow on a dairy farm is smiling because we get to steal her child's milk and then turn ghee out of it? So marketing is involved. And not to mention, we are taught from a young age that these foods are very nutritious and good for us. I'm not saying that's a myth. True, those are facts. Yeah, they are. So first of all, when it comes to reality, we have to contend, as a vegan activist, I have to contend with the fact that I'm dealing with a species that biologically geared and rewarded for consuming flesh because it aided the survival in ancient times. We've evolved this way. The fact that I come off as an arrogant prick because I'm telling people what to do within their own personal space when it comes to their food. The fact that religion, media, politics, and society as a whole normalizes violence towards animals. So that's first on the reality end. Now the myths end. Apparently, if you eat too much soy, you get boobs. You turn into a woman. That's not true. Apparently, you can't get enough protein if you're a vegan. That's not true. Apparently, being vegan is so expensive because almond milk and soy milk and plant-based ice cream, plant-based cheese is expensive. That is true, but you don't need to eat those things to be a vegan or be healthy as one. There are many myths when it comes to nutrition. Also myths when it comes to the fact that people think, no, there's a nice way of exploiting an animal. This one farm, I know this one guy, he treats his cows like his own children. He doesn't hurt them. He wouldn't kill them. He wouldn't lie to me. Therefore, I get milk only from this one dude who behaves exactly like every other person because they're following the SOP laid out by the government of India as to how to raise cattle to get profits for the dairy industry.
Milk, I think, is the most ignored cruelty that I see. Like even the most adaptable person would still be like, yeah, milk I can't give up.
I wouldn't say it's only milk. Like I was not a big milk guy when I was a non-vegan. Like you fried chicken, man, dude, that was like, to know that I could never eat fried chicken again, I had to be honest. When I decided to make the jump to go vegan, I was like, crap, can I even do this? Regarding milk, we have to first understand that change is hard to do. I get that, okay? New habits are hard to create, old habits are hard to break. The reason now we have to ask ourselves is, why do I want to make this change? If someone says they want to make this change because they want to be healthier or because for whatever personal reason, they may find it hard. And I too probably, if I were focused only on my health or something, I couldn't have become vegan. But when we understand our why is because we are committing or supporting through our money an act that is so immoral, so unbelievably cruel, then we should just stop. and the taste buds do adapt. They change over time. It's not easy. I'm going to be very honest. It's not like, you want to be vegan right now? It'll be the easiest thing in the world. No. It requires some effort from you. It requires some level of letting go of things that were never ours to begin with, but we have to let them go either way. So yeah, I guess it mainly starts off with why. See, I guess one thing people don't understand is that if you ask them which animal gives us milk, they'll say cows or buffalo. Then the question is, do they really give us milk or do we take it from them? They're like, I've never really thought of that. Okay, fair enough. Then the question I like to ask is, when do cows or buffaloes produce milk? Or when does any female human produce milk? When does she lactate? Either when she's pregnant or she's already had a kid in order to breastfeed the child. A mother monkey makes milk for a baby monkey. Mother giraffe makes milk for a baby giraffe. My mom made milk for me, not for you or for anybody watching. Cows make milk for me, my neighbors, my mother-in-law. Apparently, we've been taught that cows make milk for us. First thing to understand, just like any other female mammal on earth, she's lactating only for her child. And people ask, why do cows make milk? Then if I can't drink milk, why do they make milk? Buddy, just like every mother lactates for her child, she's only lactating for her child. The next question is, then how do cows or buffaloes become pregnant in an Indian dairy farm? And the answer is, a female cow or buffalo is held against her will because it's her body we are now using and she does not want to cooperate. They literally have an apparatus, you can Google it online, it's called a rape rack. It's literally called a rape rack that's constructed with steel that you can then shove the cow's head into and close like a guillotine behind her neck so she can't move much. Then her backside is exposed. Her tail is lifted up, her feet are tied, and a man approaches with the gloves in his hand and he shoves the gloves right into the cow's ass. Have to be detailed about this. Deep into the cow's ass. Then in this hand, he has a steel catheter which contains bull semen, which is inserted into her vagina till her uterus, and then semen is put inside. To tie up a female against her will and forcefully make her pregnant against her consent. If this action were done to a woman in our society, what would we call it?
Yeah, that is basically a very graphic representation of how we get milk out. But why do you think people, after knowing this fact, would still go back to milk?
They don't care. That's the simple answer. They're like, yeah, it does happen, but guess what? Right now, there are no legal repercussions or social repercussions for me to abuse a cow. Or of course, we don't do it ourselves. We pay someone to do that to the cow for us. Not so when something is legal and you don't face social repercussions either, what's the problem? This is why I think veganism is the ultimate litmus test of our time. Because I'm now testing you on something that by making this change, you know you're on the right side of history, you're doing the right thing, but you get no benefit out of it. And you could get away. Like right now, I can go and take a chicken, beat the ever-living crap out of it, string its head, rip its head off. Guess what? I'll be free. Nothing can happen. I can do that. But I choose not to because I don't want to hurt someone like that. People do it because they can get away. I mean, think of it. If suppose tomorrow in the news it comes out that Arvind's a domestic abuser, okay? My family would shun me. My friends wouldn't talk to me anymore. There would be legal action against me. I'll go to jail. But guess what happens if I abuse certain species of animals and then produce products for others to consume? I'm considered a hero. And it's this mindset and this system within a society that I am trying to break with this vegan movement. That's my aim.
I somehow understand most of it, but when we come to medicines and even cosmetic creams and stuff, it doesn't seem like we have an answer to where to test it then.
So I will 100% concede myself as a hypocrite when you point out medicines, not when you say cosmetics. Cosmetics, like I told you, I brought my own soap. I brought my own paste. I refuse to, because I don't need, let's just say hypothetically, I can't brush my teeth for the next 3 days. I mean, I'll obviously rinse my mouth, but so what? I'm not going to support an industry that tests their paste by squeezing some liquid on some rabbit's eyes. I'm not going to pay for that. Regarding medication, this is where the vegans are stumped. And again, if you want to call me a hypocrite, I will take it wholeheartedly because that's what I am. But I'm not a hypocrite because I want to be one, or I think that the animals in which we test medicines on have lesser value in their lives. I am a hypocrite because in this current scenario, I find myself in society, I don't have an answer. Because this is not based on supply and demand. The other things I name, like meat, dairy, eggs, and stuff, leather, that's based on supply and demand. If you want to release a medicine tomorrow, Kunal, you know you have to pass through certain procedures. You have to test on animals, else you cannot sell that to me. Now, there are vegans, activists who are promoting right now the testing of these kind of medications on human tissue culture. We now have technology where we can actually, like, say, fabricate a human lung miniature version and test seeing how smoking affects the lung by inserting certain chemicals into it, instead of having to force a rat to breathe a cigarette, right?
Yeah.
So, and if someone is sick right now, say someone is sick and saying to me, Arvind, I'm going to die, I want to be vegan, what do I do? I can be like, oh, you need medications? You know what? Don't take them and just die. That I can't ask someone to kill themselves for an animal. That's not what I'm saying. So I concede. I don't have an answer to this. When it comes to animal testing, I don't. But I do have an answer to almost 98% of the problem. Just because we vegans are still working on finding an answer to the remaining 2%, please don't ignore the solution we are providing for the 98%. And I will let you know the other parts I'm a hypocrite too. I buy fruits, dal, rice, vegetables, everything. How do I know that a bullock cart hasn't been used to plow the field? Or a bull wasn't used to, bring the sugar cane from a village to the plant to then be made into sugar, which I then put and drink?
Yeah.
So I don't know. There are definitely many cases like this to which vegans do not have a solution to, but we do have a solution to the biggest contributor, which is our diet and clothing. And that can be stopped. And this too will be stopped. Look, if we vegans were in control of society right now, let's say like majority vegans, a vegan government, this and that, of course we're going to stop this. You think we'll let this happen? But right now, we're not in power and we're a minority. So first, let's change and then work together to find a solution for this. Not say, aha, you're imperfect, Arvind, therefore everything you say, won't listen to it. That's not a fair way to approach the issue, is what I would say.
What sort of a person do you find the most difficult to convince when it comes to veganism?
I guess the scariest people that I face are not the people who argue with me, who disagree with me, or even bring up ridiculous arguments, which even they know are stupid, like, hey bro, but plants feel pain. Okay, that's not the most difficult one to deal with. The difficult ones to deal with are the ones that ignore you completely, think that you are batshit insane, and they don't even want to give you a chance. They don't want to hear what you have to say. They've already made up in their minds, this is stupid, and I won't listen. People who have these tight blinders on their eyes and walk around thinking everything is all sunshine, rainbows, and gumdrops, and refuse to even look at this, they will eat. And I'll tell them, okay, you know what? Don't you listen to me. I'll show you a video of what's happening. Just watch. No, I won't watch. Just pass me the tikka, please. That's the scariest. The one that chooses to be willfully ignorant and not even engage, they scare me. And there's nothing you can do.
They don't want to engage at all.
Yeah, pretty much, yes. And once again, the reason for that, I would argue, is religion. And in our Indian family system, which is one thing I do appreciate about it, this community or culture is a tight-knit family system. Like, we do what we want outside in the end for our family. We go back to our families, we live for our families. That's how we Indians, at least I see, we live like that. And when the elder of the family says at home, these vegans, stupid people, don't listen to them, the kids are hearing that. And it goes into their minds. And it becomes a fact which they later don't even want to ever challenge, Like the same thing for you. There could be right now kids watching TV and news about you playing there. The elder in the family saying, Kunal, he's the worst. He should be in jail. Never listen to him. The kids are hearing that. So it's not about whether they agree with me or even agree with you. The fact that they've made up their mind at such a young age that they should not even contend with this is the scariest part.
But from clothing to like everything, there's now a vegan brand that does exist, which is ethical in ways, maybe expensive also sometimes.
Agreed.
These challenges that you have with the food on the plate is the most.
Yes.
Because for clothes and stuff, I think it's not that much of a battle. But
True. That's because, once again, like I told, food is not just personal, it's also biological. When I wear a clothes, it's not necessarily a biological change happening. Unless it's like something I'm feeling cold, I have to wear something to warm myself, some biological change is happening. But every munch you take, it's a biological circuitry going here. From each bite, you get pleasure signals being rewarded in your brain. Telling them right now, don't. That's hard.
But there are also people who are closely associated with the climate movement and who would not travel by air, who would not travel in a diesel petrol car. What do you have to think or say about that?
No, so I don't want to necessarily say to them anything specifically as if saying that they are worse than somebody else or they are more responsible. No. Everybody who consumes meat, dairy, and eggs in a society and who clearly has the option to switch. I agree, not everyone in this country has the option. Being the most populated country with major differences when it comes to our economical structure, not everybody in this country right now can be a vegan. But trust me, millions can. It's them that I'm asking. And you mentioned right now exactly what again? You said the people who are eco-friendly, them. My point, like I said, if I now start targeting a particular group and saying, you guys are more responsible than others, I don't think that's fair of me. I want everyone to be accountable for their actions. And I want people to understand that veganism is animal rights. These two, like just how we have human rights, we have animal rights. Environment and animal rights do not necessarily go hand in hand. Someone cannot say, I am environmentally friendly, therefore I have the right to now kill a human. Doesn't make sense. I am environmentally friendly and conscious and do a lot of wonderful things. Respect for you. I have no shade to throw. That now justifies me not caring about this issue is a nonsensical statement to make. You get how I'm approaching this?
Yeah.
I'm saying that this is a fundamental issue of rights. Like how we look at human rights, I'm looking at animal rights. Just because you happen to be a wonderful person in certain other regards doesn't excuse your actions of barbarity towards animals, is what I'm saying. And I'm not going to call out people who are conscious towards climate change or in eco-friendly. I'm not going to call them out separately because that would just make me a bully. Everyone, look, as animal exploiters, we all stand shoulder to shoulder, okay? No one is above or less here. Everyone's equally responsible, and let's all make a change to the only person we can change, ourselves. Yeah.
But yeah, coming to, how vegans eat and the kind of, it's almost that they're trying to replicate the taste of chicken or mutton in their. I've seen a lot of those dishes when chicken tikka vegan or and some of them really do taste pretty good.
Pretty good is the right word, yeah.
Still people don't go to it.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, so first thing I want to say is that the reason why you hear a lot about that is not because that's what vegans majorly eat. That's what gets the headlines. Crazy activists going to schools and giving proper responses and talking to people. Who wants to hear that? Oh, look, they're trying to make stuff taste like meat. Headlines obviously want to pick that for the article. And there's actually a lot of vegans, especially in India, don't necessarily go for those foods. Because our traditional Indian foods are vegan. I'm pretty sure when you would have seen that video of me of saying idli, dosa, chutney, sambar, puri, masala, chapati, kurma, poha, upma, pongal, khichdi, uttapam, idiyappam, lemon rice, tomato rice, coconut rice, coriander rice, pudina rice, tamarind rice, veg biryani, veg fried rice, Szechuan noodles, gobi manchurian, mushroom manchurian, baby corn 65, bel puri, pani puri, vada pav, samosa. So our traditional Indian foods and Indo-Chinese cuisine already happen to be vastly vegan or can be easily veganized by merely removing the dairy component and adding something else. Instead of ghee or butter for tempering, just use oil. Instead. Instead of using curd for the creamer, use coconut milk instead. Instead of using paneer, use tofu. Simple swaps like that, you can easily do it, and it's not expensive. We don't have to. It's the influencers again on Instagram that get attention, and I'm not saying them not to. They can do it, but which looks fancy to you? Me showing you me eating idli, or look at this guy, looks like chicken. It's not chicken, tastes damn great. That's obviously what gets used, and they're very expensive, those products. And people immediately think, okay, so vegan means instead of eating the chicken I currently eat for protein, I have to eat this for protein. No. Eat soy chunks instead. Eat tofu instead. Eat seitan instead. It's a wheat gluten-based protein. So there are other high protein, low carbohydrate options for vegans. So getting into nutrition is a completely different talk altogether. My point is that unfortunately that is shown as what we vegans eat. For example, almond milk. Like everyone keeps promoting, look, vegans drink almond milk. Vegans eat avocados. So I've been a vegan for 11 years. I've been alive on earth for 33 years. Never eaten a single avocado in my life. I don't even know what they taste like. Yet, oh, you're vegan? You must be eating avocados and almond milk. I've bought almond milk twice in my life. Honestly, tasted like crap. Tasted like just runny water. Tasted like nothing, to be honest. And I paid 450 rupees for it. I don't drink that stuff. Today morning when I woke up, I didn't have any tea or coffee. I just went and had breakfast directly. I had some nice fruits though, watermelon, bananas as well. You know, so my point is that veganism can be made to work, especially for our Indian diaspora, if we know what we're looking for. And don't confuse expensive, processed foods that are optional, thinking that those are mandatory to be vegan. So, and about the taste of those foods, yeah, they taste pretty good. I've eaten some foods that honestly imitated fried chicken to such a good degree. I had to walk up to the front desk and be like, are you sure this is vegan? And they were like, don't worry, sir, everything here is vegan. There's a brand called Good Dot in Mumbai. If you're ever there, you can check out their branches. Good Do is their branch, completely vegan food. And they had this thing called fried crispies. That stuff shocked me. It tasted damn close to fried chicken. So yeah, it does exist.
When also there are people like me who don't want to decide. I'm broadly a vegetarian, but I may have non-veg once in a month, or maybe once in say 20 days, or sometime once in 45 days. Maybe in a year there'll be 15-20 days I have non-veg. So I just feel like I don't want to commit to I have this commitment phobia to go like vegetarian or vegan eventually. So yeah, it's just one more thing to let yourself down on. And that's the reason why I never should.
Sure. So let me attack the heart of this issue you mentioned right now. Notice again how you first started off with saying why you're not vegan and then said you are a vegetarian and you also sometimes eat meat. Veganism is not a dietary preference. So the question you have to ask, I want to ask you a question and you have to answer it honestly. What is your view on animals? Do you think that they are so inferior to us in moral value that we have the right to use their body for whatever reason we want? Do not tell me about your preferences of food or how you find difficulty to keep up with commitments. I want to know your view on animals because that is veganism.
It's unfortunate what we do to animals, and especially when it comes to the milk part, what we do with the cow, and what we do for leather belts and high-end brands doing that. I can't wrap my head around it.
Why blame only the high-end brands? Again, see, you brought the animal activist here, so you are in front of me, so unfortunately I have to grill you, so my point is no, but that was kind of a response that a politician would give. You didn't answer my question is, are animals inferior to us? It's a yes or no question. Are animals so inferior to us that we have the right to use their body for whatever reason we say so?
If you want a one-word answer,
Then you can expand on it.
I think
Be honest.
no.
No, okay. Why not? Why no? Why are they not inferior to us, Kunal? I want to know.
They are not inferior to us because
How? Well, let's play devil's advocate. I am the anti-vegan, you're the vegan right now. You're saying animal lives have value and they are not inferior to us. But explain to me, Kunal, I'm saying that chicken is there, her dead body tastes great on my tongue. So, fuck her. Why should I care? Explain to me, why should I even bother? My point is, why does she have any value? Where does her value come from? Explain that to me.
value comes from your empathy. Like,
Her value comes from my empathy?
yeah, I mean, if you empathize with the animal,
Okay, let's say there is a human being there. I don't empathize. So, does that mean that the value of the human is based on my empathy?
no, that's not based on your empathy.
Oh, okay, good. It's not. So, what's it based on for human beings?
That's based on law and order.
Okay, and you're right, you're absolutely right. I'm so, you know what, dude, first of all, I didn't even say this. I'm talking to Kunal Kamra. Thank you so much for the opportunity, but delving headfirst into the actual freaking philosophy of veganism, bro, you're awesome, love you. Thank you for talking to me. Yes, you're right, based on law and order. Now, where do we get law and order from? We have two options here, Kunal. One is we as a community sit together, use our freaking brains where we talk based on logic, our experiences, and various different things, and try to come to a conclusion where we can live together happily in harmony. Or two, we say, there's a big dude with a big beard up in the sky. He gave this one random book to this one guy. Apparently, he's the messenger, blah, blah, blah. And we only follow based on this book. What do you choose? Our rationality or the book?
Rationality.
Beautiful. I'm with you 100%. Then, if we're basing it on rationality, so when you said I should not, the value of the human is not based on my empathy, but based on law and order. And then you say law and order is based on rationality. That means her value is based on our rationality to understand the fact that she is an individual and she has what we call as intrinsic value. Intrinsic means what I believe that I should not be harmed or I should not have cruel things happen to me because I personally appreciate being alive. I personally appreciate not having my body harmed. Therefore, I did feel I deserve to live. Right. So it's based on my intrinsic feeling. So if I say a human being has intrinsic value, whether I look at her in a positive way or negative way, him or her, she or he looks at themselves with value. Therefore, they have value. Extrinsic means what happened in the slave trade. They're just blacks. They're useful to me. They can pick cotton. They're just Indians. We can do what we want with them. We see how useful they are to us. And based on that, we give them their value, which is why I asked you, does the life of an animal depend on how useful they are to us, or is it based on intrinsic value? Now my question to you is, does the animal should we create society? Should we? Where the animal's life is based on its own intrinsic value or the human's extrinsic motive on the animal?
Their own intrinsic value.
Beautiful. Yes, we should. Therefore, doesn't veganism just make complete sense?
Does.
Yeah, so that means when we are engaging in these activities in which we eat meat, dairy, eggs, and honey, or supporting any kind of exploitation, systematic exploitation of animals, we are being very irrational, very hypocritical, and honestly, like just horrible to them for not a valid reason. Like I said, if you told me like, bro, I would die, like literally, physiologically, I would die if I don't take a medicine or eat this, means I can't say anything to you. There's nothing I'll say to you. I will not tell you, no, it's immoral or wrong. That's your life on the line. Yeah. But we do it because it tastes good. You eat tikka because it tastes good. That's not fair. That's not fair.
Yeah, I mean, there's no disagreement on the fact. But the thing is that it's just that commitment. Like you said, you ask me these questions, I'm on your side. I see you next year, I would have still had non-veg for 20 days.
At least you're honest, though, but the honesty is in two ways. One, you're agreeing it's wrong, and two, you're not someone like, yes, Arvind, I agree with you, I'll become vegan. I hate those people. And then they'll still be, that's what I hate. At least I really appreciate honesty. Yes, you refuse to be a part of this stupid, violent system because it is violent, horrifyingly violent. Violence that we can't even imagine. Like if someone just pricks us with a needle where like hurts, stub our damn toe somewhere here hurts. We are literally shoving a 12-inch knife into someone's larynx and going, and then like pulling this back so that blood can spurt out. Like that's, the violence is unreal. So you then, despite knowing all of this, of course, as a human being, you can choose what you want to do. You are choosing then to be on the side of injustice. We are taught so bad, like from a young age, the dog and cat, their lives, it matters. They're beautiful, they're wonderful. Chicken life doesn't matter. Fish life doesn't matter. Buffalo cow doesn't matter. Like we have degraded and devalued their life so much. We look at them and we see a sandwich and a pair of shoes. Society is going in the wrong direction. You have a choice. You have a choice to choose, like, you know what? Society may be messed up, but Kunal Kamra is going to stand on the side of justice. I'm not asking you to be vocal about veganism. Just be a vegan. That's all I'm saying to you. You don't have to be like me.
But when it comes to animals, you're right. We have this social conditioning to dog, cat, okay. Chicken, not okay.
Some people worship cows.
Some people do worship cows.
They say they do. I will have to say that's unfortunately in our country a big excuse. Like, you can't, look, I'm very honest with the audience right now. I don't want to label any religion, but of course, you know what I'm talking about. In particular, I don't want to, because I've noticed in our country, the moment you mention one particular religion, or say one particular thing, they'll be like, what about the other religion? You have to call them out as well. So let me just put it this way, phrase it in a way where nobody has to now divert the topic. You can't call someone as a family member and then treat them like shit. You can't call someone as a family member and then have their private parts be violated so you can then drink a liquid that she oozes from her body for her child, which you sell off to be killed by somebody else. That's what's happening. It's just an excuse. You can do the violence, but then pretend like you care about the victim. And apparently it's okay. Some people love cows, some people love dogs and cats. Some people, depends, again, it's all culture. It's cultural.
But that culture doesn't seem to be changing.
It doesn't, yeah. Because why think about something when you're benefiting from it, right? Like, why should the oppressor think about the oppressed when they have so much to benefit?
Yeah,
Which
I
is-
mean, I've come to terms with a few things. There's no ethical way of animal farming. I
Thank you
know
for
that.
saying that. Thank you.
There's no ethical way of farming. So you are wrong. It's incorrect. But again, coming back to the hypocrisy.
But you can. Let me put it in a positive way. It won't be the easiest thing for you to do in your life for sure. And you will be giving up things that you love. Again, biologically, when you will forever remember that. Just like how this is like asking someone, do you want to drink whiskey or you want to drink plain sparkling water? Like, come on. Like, why the whiskey? Because dopamine, it's hitting the brain. Why meat? I asked you in the beginning, okay, idli, sambar, chutney or tikka? Of course tikka, of course fried chicken. It's all about dopamine. It's a sensory pleasure. And I want to paint another picture here right now. And this might gross people out. It might even gross you out, but I want to do it because it's reality. When we say that we value our sensory pleasure, we value our power in the system over the life of somebody, especially when we say sensory pleasure, what we are saying is that their body belongs to me and their suffering of their body can happen as long as I get sensory pleasure. You know who else says that? That an individual's body can go through suffering so I can get sensory pleasure from it?
Who?
Rapists,
Yeah.
child molesters. I'm not saying right now that people who eat meat, dairy, and eggs are rapists. That's not what I'm saying. Okay, that's not at all what I'm saying. But I'm painting this picture to show, because again, like you said, you're like, yeah, it is bad, bro, but
But it's very different though, because you're enjoying the cooked version of food and not the act of violence.
true. But that's where we cannot, but you cannot get the cooked version of that food without the exactly.
That I agree.
Exactly. Of course,
But
not the
when I
same. Like I
eat
told
the
you.
food, I'm not enjoying the violence.
Exactly. Of course. See, of course, you didn't get blood on your clothes. You didn't hear the screams. You didn't do all of that. I get that point. But that's why I told you in the beginning, when we do an action, there are consequences either that come after it or before it. In this case, veganism and food, it comes before it. And we cannot separate the two. We cannot say, that happened over there, I'm doing this over here. But bro, if that didn't happen, you will not get this. We can't distance ourselves from this. We have to hold ourselves accountable.
But where does it stop then? Like for example, I'm a vegan today. I see more videos, I understand more. Then I say I will not come to a restaurant that's non-vegan. I won't pay
Why?
for because I've seen this happen. I won't pay for food that is non-vegetarian.
Yeah, that you want. Of course, yeah. You don't, yeah, especially see, if me and my friends right now are going and eating, I don't mind eating at a non-veg place. If there are vegan options, I eat vegan. Where I eat doesn't matter. Who cooks the food doesn't matter. The utensils used doesn't matter. Like, for example, say, tawa here, they're making for you dosa with an egg on top. They don't have to wash it for me. They can just slightly wipe it off and make my dosa on it next. No problem for that. It's not about purity.
Yeah, I know
It's about ethics. Where is my money going to? And of course, how can I pay for the violence that my friends consume? Let them pay for it. I can't change them. I can't force them. But they're going to pay for that. I can't pay for that stuff. Makes sense, right? Like, or do you find anything to be hypocritical or like nonsensical here?
I just feel that there is so much on my
Yes, there is. Yes, Kunal, you're right.
minds to go that this will be like one more thing to be.
You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right.
But-
Yes, that is there.
But there is no ethical way of doing this.
In this current system that's so messed up, the stance I'm asking people to take is just don't pay for this anymore. There are others like myself who are vocal about this cause or trying to change more people. Like, we'll handle that heavy lifting work, but just don't pay for it. Don't have to be vocal about it. Just don't pay for it anymore.
Yeah, basically just don't buy products that are
Involve exploitation of animals.
animal.
Exactly.
And the exploitation is huge.
Yep. It's the principal driver of all economies around the
just,
world.
and the vegans are against the most powerful people.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Like Trump going to McDonald's is just such a tight.
Oh, completely understand. See, my thing is like, I understand what we're doing. Let me put it this way. In my life, conservatively, I have convinced probably 3,000 people to become vegan. Conservatively. Or maximum 10,000, something like that. Okay. But just today alone in India, we had 60,000 new babies born at the very least. And none of them say become vegan. And then tomorrow happens, and day after tomorrow, and the day after that. So even if I convince 1 lakh people to become vegan in my lifetime, it's outdone by just 2 days of humans existing in India of birth rate, right? So I'm very well aware of what I'm up against. It honestly feels like I'm wearing a backpack that weighs over 100 kgs and I'm forced to climb Mount Everest at a 90-degree angle. I understand what it's like. It feels impossible. In fact, sometimes it's like, why even try? What's the point? Who's going to listen? Who's going to change? Nothing's going to happen. Let that even be the case. I'd rather go out, I'd rather die without giving up. I'll put up a fight and then die than just say, you know what, no one's going to change. Because I am doing activism not because it's the right thing to do necessarily. There are many issues in society. I don't expect everyone to speak about animal rights because there are various problems in our country. And please feel free, be an activist and try to solve any of those problems. But be a vegan. That's all I'm asking. The reason why I am a vegan activist is because of all the things that I have witnessed in my life. From atrocities happening to humans across the spectrum and what's happening to animals. What's happening to animals is what emotionally affected me the most. And it's because it emotionally affected me so much, I am an activist of it. I did not become a vegan because of the emotional thing, but the emotional thing is what drives me to be an activist and be vocal about it.
Like, there are a lot of people who talk about if there could just be this one animal for meat that we raise and not kind of do this to any other animal. Like, it's again breeding of sorts. It's not. But a lot of people had these ideas for sure.
But again, what we're saying then is one species is again morally of less value. That doesn't make sense. Look, if there's one methodology of making meat I'll support, it's this one. It's called no-kill meat, aka lab-based meat, where we take a single cell from an animal and culture that into tissue. Let people eat that, I have zero problems. Note that I don't have a problem with meat. I don't have a problem with milk. I don't have a problem with eggs. I'm not saying this is impure food. If you eat this, you're like, impure or low. I'm not saying any of that. Eat. But right now in reality, it comes from exploitation, horrible violence towards animals. Have you seen this movie called Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs?
No, I haven't.
No, it's an animated movie where meat literally rains from the sky. If that happens tomorrow, eat all you want, see if I care.
Yeah.
Because there's no violence happening. But that's not reality.
But a lot of people have spoken about hunting and eating.
I will admit, hunting is probably less cruel than what we get as conventionally made meat. But you're still having to finally kill the animal, which is not necessary. The animals that we raise conventionally, man, their life is from birth, death is their only liberation. The moment they finally die is the best part of their life because they don't have to suffer anymore. That's how bad it is for them.
Because there's no space for them, they're kept in...
It's because those reasons, they are considered resources and we have to maximize our profits. And in order to maximize my profits, I will do whatever I can and want with that resource to get the best amount of money. If that means injecting a cow 3 times with hormones, which gives her cramps in her stomach, like it makes her feel like she is giving birth, labor pain, fuck it, I'll do that so I'll get more money. Oops, there's some blood coming out of the udder. Who cares? One last big squeeze. Okay, just mix it with the milk. You can't see the blood anymore. Done. Over. Do you know what an egg is? Did you know that every female human being has eggs in them? And they come out once during the menstrual cycle? A chicken in the wild lays around 12 to 15 eggs a year, just like how a woman probably has 12 to 15 periods per year. Do you know how much eggs a chicken is forced to lay conventionally in an egg farm? Almost a single egg every single day, which means that her cloaca, which is basically the organ that a bird pees from and poops from, they have only one hole. That's where the egg also comes from. What happens is that since she's forced to push out an object every single day, that hole becomes open, full of infections. When you go to these egg farms, have you ever visited a slaughterhouse at all in your life? Not I'm not talking about chicken slaughterhouse where you just wait outside and you order, not that one, like a proper.
No, I've seen it in a documentary.
Oh, you haven't seen it. Okay, you've not been there though. When you go to these egg farms or slaughterhouses, the first sense on the human body that hits you is not what you want to see. The smell is unbelievable. It's putrid because they're literally standing on their own urine and feces. And then they're forced to push out. So there's a lot of bacterial contamination everywhere in their eyes, their beaks, their toes, everything. And then even in these egg farms, what they do is they cut off their beaks and their toes at birth for baby birds. The reason being is, since we put them in such cramped, tight conditions, they will tend to peck at each other to get more space. But then if they peck, that will lead to a wound, which will lead to infection, which will then lead to death, and therefore a loss for the egg farmer. So on the day they're born, we segregate them based on the gender, male and female, because a male chick will grow up and become a rooster. Rooster does not produce eggs. Hey, chick, hen, you get eggs. So the male chicks are all taken first and they're all culled the day they're born, buried alive, sometimes burnt. These ones are then taken and they're put into cramped, confined cages after having the beaks and the toes cut off so they can't peck at each other. And they lay eggs, and after 2 years of doing that, they just die, bleeding through their cloaca, which is like their vagina.
So the chicken that lays the egg is not used for the meat. That's just
Of course they are. They can be used maybe like, they do use them. Of course, they will not let anything go to waste. It's like a byproduct they get, something like that.
But there are a lot of farms in all over the world right now which are grazing a lot of their cows. So their cows are relatively free and they just kind of see it from geo. But again, the kill.
It has to happen. Of course, the life up until they reach the slaughterhouse might be pristine. I don't know. Maybe. But then again, if I told you I was raising someone for the sole purpose of killing them, if I brought someone into this world for the sole purpose of killing them, that would be called as an act of psychopathy. But if you do it to animals, it's called as farming. I'm just like you. I'll tell you why. When I first got confronted with the ideology, and I was like, man, yeah, it's wrong, but what do you do? It's wrong. What can I do?
Yeah.
And I was thinking in my mind, there has to be some way to do this ethically. I was so comfortable with the idea that this thing does exist. And I'll just imagine that what I'm getting is that. Make me feel good, right? Until I finally stumbled across the video that convinced me to become vegan. So that was an activist from the US. His name is Gary Yourofsky. He is very controversial, you can say. In my opinion, he's such a wonderful guy, the heart of gold. But yeah, the thing is that guy, he was giving a talk in a university as to why we should be vegan. And there were certain profound statements he said in that. It just shook me to my very core. After hearing those statements, I'm like, I thought I always had a comeback for something. For the first time in my life, after he spoke, I'm like, I don't know what to say to this. He asked the following questions like, how would you feel if the day that you were born, someone else planned the day of your execution? Freedom is a birthright. It's a God-given right. If a God wanted his babies, his creations to be tormented and tortured and killed, then he wouldn't be God. He would be the devil. Do you really think there is such a thing as humane slaughter? If so, do you also think there is such a thing called as humane rape, a humane terrorist attack, or a humane Holocaust? In fact, what is your definition of a Holocaust? Is it a massacre of human beings or a massacre of innocent beings? And I was like, I don't know how to get back to that. I'll still keep listening. Then he said, do you honestly believe that farmers are nice to the animals? Do you really think that whites were nice to blacks when they took them across the transatlantic slave trade? Do you think that the Nazis were nice to Jews when they're mass killing them in gas chambers? What makes you think for any capacity, humans and farmers are nice to animals? And then I guess the final point he made was that if the animals ever formed an organized religion, the devil would be depicted in human form.
Yeah.
And I just sat there listening and thinking, shit, I don't have a comeback. Usually I think I have some comeback, something I could say haha, this is wrong, no, you're exaggerating. But I'm like, no, people, we humans really are that bad. We are the worst. We are the devil to them. We do nothing but take from them. We have no value for their life. And after hearing that, because I have seen cruelty videos of animals being killed even before, hearing the stuff. I mean, you must have seen right now and then Facebook, they just appear in your timeline, a random video of, see, in that way, PETA's cool. They were my first introduction to seeing all of these cruelty videos. But I saw them and my brain was like, yeah, it's sad, but I guess it's necessary. It's a necessary evil. What can we do? But then you realize, no, it's not. So if we're not killing them for survival, and if we don't need to eat them for food, why are we doing this to them?
Yeah, that's true. We're just doing it for our taste buds.
And we are conditioned. It's habit, tradition, convenience. Convenience. Remember, you said this word like, oh man, I want to change, but how do I pay the bills? It's convenient to be a non-vegan, right? You don't have to think so much right now.
Yeah.
This is inconvenient. Agreed. Completely agreed. Comparatively, it's definitely inconvenient to be a vegan. Not because getting nutrition or tasty food is hard. You have to think more. Be more present at what's happening. If you're buying some junk food, you have to turn it around and read the ingredients list, whether it has milk solids or not. A more responsible consumer, and that is harder to do comparatively.
Any vegan brands that have come out of India that are impressive?
I am a big fan of a brand called Good Dot, Gooddot. They are this mock meat company. They're the ones I spoke about from Mumbai. They're actually from Udaipur, Rajasthan. And they make fantastic mock meats. They sell these kits on their website called like unmutton daba curry. It's apparently unmutton daba curry, unmutton keema. They're really good, really tasty. Not healthy, mind you. They're not meant to be healthy, but they're damn good.
Good Dot. I'll check it out.
Yeah, Good Dot is really good. There's another mock meat brand called Blue Tribe. There's something called Shakahari, which I think is a play on words. Like Shakahari in Hindi means vegetarian, but it's Shaka, Harri, Shakahari. And I believe that Dhoni is their like brand logo or something. Not sure.
The last question I have for you is Virat Kohli a vegan or not?
No, he's not a vegan. He is not.
Because that's what the discussion is down to, I think. Every once a year, we figure out if he's a vegan or not.
So the thing is that he is what we call as plant-based. Have you heard this word called plant-based before?
Yeah.
Plant-based basically refers to someone who predominantly eats plants for either health reasons. He's doing it for performance, sport for performance reasons, right? That means that right now, if you said, bro, it's my birthday, here, take a chocolate, I'd ask you, Kunal, is there milk in it? If you gave that to Virat Kohli, he would take it and eat it because he has no ethical qualm with it. And a little bit of dairy to his diet, a little bit of meat to your diet doesn't hurt. Maybe, look, you can eat meat and be healthy. I'll first make that statement very clear because there are many vegans who say shit like, oh, you have to be vegan to be healthy. If you eat meat, you will die. That's not true. But he is saying he's doing it for his sports performances, right? He could eat meat now and then to not be socially awkward and then still perform well in sports, right? That's what he's doing. He probably wears leather, rides horses, goes to the zoo or circus, probably.
Yeah.
So he is definitely not vegan. A vegan is someone who, veganism, what is it? A philosophy where we avoid now animal exploitation in all regards. That's a vegan. Virat Kohli is not avoiding animal exploitation. He is not against animal exploitation. He eats primarily plant-based food because it's helpful for his sports performances. That's the reason why. He's not a vegan, no.
If someone has to adapt to veganism, do you have like a starter pack of how they should go around it?
Yes. And I'm going to do a huge plug-in right now. My social media account is Arvind, Arvind, animal, Animal, Activist, activist. Me and my wife have worked for 5.5 months on creating a video titled The Ultimate Guide to Veganism in India. It's 1.5 hours long. Please, it's like a movie is worth length. Please just watch that video. Doesn't matter what question you have, based on nutrition, based on where to find products, based on how to use them, what to do if you're already deficient. You're a vegan now for 5 years, you get a blood work done, you find you're deficient in some nutrient. What to do? I have answered everything in that video. If you watch that one video, there is no way on earth you will have any queries as to how to be vegan in India. I just want to give that plug-in. That will answer everything.
Okay.
You just watch that one video. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. I had a great time talking to you.
Thank you so much for, you have such a big platform. Yet you chose to give it to...
No, I love your videos. I love what you do online. It's great.